Chapter 31. Kelin charged. "Dare!" He grabbed her arm and yanked her around. "I don't know what you said or when you said it, but this outrageous foray has your scent all over it." "How? It's a secret. Was it Farallon?" She tried to jerk away, but his grip was iron. They were in a long hallway which was open on one side to the majesty of the mountains. "Why did they listen to you? Why?" "Because we could end this war." She offered a weak smile. "You want to go back to them? Have you forgotten what they did?" He slapped his leg hard. He had to hit something. "This plan will fail worse than your last one, and you know what happened to us." He strangled the air with his hands. "Do you need a perspective on this? You're walking up to the dragon's snout and telling it that it's ugly and needs to bathe." She plugged her nose.
"It's not the only one."
"Stop joking! Just stop it!" He waved his finger at her. "I'll tell you exactly what you're doing. You're taking the scariest myth we have and poking it on their home ground that is not even part of this world." His knees quaked, threatening to give out. He couldn't catch his breath. "I can't go through that again. Please." She sighed, but nodded. "You're human, Dare. Despite what little elvish blood you have, you were raised human and you will die as one. So what did you know that they don't?" She straightened her sleeves. "How to try something new." His tone melted away from anger and dropped into pleading. "This will be worse, and I can't imagine worse." "Can't you?" she whispered. "I can, and I'm terrified of what will happen if we don't do this." Kelin growled deep in his throat. "Now you're sounding like an elf. What's wrong with that?" They spun. Jacob leaned against the wall, arms crossed and an eyebrow raised. Sir Amthros stood behind the dragoon, breathing slightly harder than the other night. "We heard shouting." He glanced at the other's repose. "He was closer." Kelin folded his arms and narrowed his eyes at his friend. "Only Dare's stupid idea. And you elves are just as bad for going along with it." Jacob kept his gaze steady. "Well, she's not going." "Why not?" Dare stormed toward him. "It's my plan." The captain laughed. "I'm sorry, kid. You got the spirit, but you don't have the experience or the training. Also, we've spoken to Thistle. Things may have changed." "What?" Amthros straightened. Jacob glanced at the other knight. "Farallon was in that council." Kelin asked, "What's wrong with the Duke being in the council?" "Why wasn't I told?" Amthros frowned. Jacob shrugged. "It isn't my place to keep you informed, sir." Dare scowled. "So what about us?" Amthros spoke while still watching the other knight. "You children will be kept safe. There's nowhere safer than here, for right now at least. The Kelin may have tortured you, but—" "Yeah," Dare interrupted. "That's why I want to fight them, so they can't do that again." "Perhaps you're missing my point. You survived. You can flee this. We cannot." Kelin forced a hopeful smile. "Dare, come on, they won't bother us." The captain shrugged again. "They wouldn't put too much effort into chasing two mortals." "I'm not running." Dare tightened her jaw. Amthros bowed his head. "It might be best for you." "I'm not running." Jacob sighed. "No, you're not, kid. But you're not fighting either." Kelin sucked in a deep breath. "This isn't the meadow on a plow pony dreaming of knighthood. This is real, and there's nothing we can do that the elves can't do better." Her face tightened even more. "Caleb is our friend, and friends don't run away. If we leave, he won't have to worry about some clumsy humans stumbling in the way. No, he'll just have to worry about us on our own." Jacob said, "I'm sure the prince can arrange something safe for you." "Then he can arrange something safe for himself." She crossed her arms. The knight's mouth opened and then clicked shut. "I want to impress on you the difference between your situation and his." "We'll stay here, thank you very much." Amthros sighed. "I wish you understood the Kelin better. No one is safe, especially around Thistle, despite what you may think of him. He cracked his knuckles. What about Fallon, then? Dare asked. The Knight of Indeliria shook his head. He's a child. Children are different. As for Fallon, Jacob said softly, we'll hope his elven side shines through for now. What does that mean? Kelin asked. The captain looked at the other knight. I wasn't there, unlike some. Amthros dropped his gaze. Jacob continued, but it was what led the Elf King to banish the Kelin from the earth. There was a battle over a Kelin town called Dari, and the elves did not keep any Kelin alive. The war had grown desperate enough that neither side was taking prisoners. Except for the children. Amthros gripped a fist at his side. We spared the children. We kept them in a prison but treated them well. They looked and acted like they were frightened, and we thought there was hope for them. What happened? Dare asked. Amthros shuddered. They, the Kelin children, thought they were doing the right thing. They broke free and attacked us in the middle of the night, killing some of my dear friends. And we... He stopped, and his eyes didn't focus on anything present. Jacob finished. In order to survive, the elves were forced to defend themselves. Amthros stared at the floor. I wish it never happened. I wish we never had to. Dare shifted her weight from foot to foot. Jacob cleared his throat. Well, since we've all got our long faces on, then it is time we should head to the vanishing ceremony. What's that? Dare asked. Amthros frowned. What do they call it more colloquially in common? I'm not sure if I know the word. A funeral, Jacob answered.